we're getting there. Thank you guys for Black Friday. You know, it's coming down to the end of the year. We've sold a lot of horsepower this year. And I want to thank you guys, especially the ones that like our YouTube videos. I know we don't put up enough of them. It kind of upsets me a little bit, but it does take a bit of time, and we're like always super freaking busy, and we want to do more of them this winter. So, and we like being pretty transparent about everything. I mean, we hide some things because if I talk about anything, it's like questions are instantly asked. So we'll just say we might be doing this, we might be doing that, right? So people don't blow us up on something that might not be good, because we do truly try to like test this stuff before we sell it. We don't just pull stuff out of our butt and sell it to people and it's a bag of crap, you know what I mean? Like, I guess moving forward with the Polaris, we did get a full STM setup for it. We noticed it was hard to remove a lot of temperature from the housing. It gets a lot warmer than like a stock clutch. So we have some things that we're gonna try to do to make that better, but it's just not gonna happen right now. We installed the factory clutch back on it with some KWI arms, and it's got a red primary spring in it, which is like our launch control spring. And then we're gonna do, I really wanted to test, I haven't really done back-to-backs, but I wanted to test exhaust on the Pro and a charge tube kit with a nice blow-off valve. So it's an RPM charge tube kit. He sent this one to us to play around with. It's got reinforcements in it, which on a Pro, really on a Polaris versus Can-Am, the Can-Am has an air-to-air intercooler. So there's a really short charge tube, it cools the air, then the long tube is like exposed to much cooler air than like a Polaris. So Polaris has this entire run where it's hot, you know, hot charge air moving through this pipe. It's possible, I would say the most common spots that have issues are on bends, but reinforcing this entire tube to try to keep it from blowing apart with all our testing is a smart idea. So we got charge tube kit, we got our nice downpipe, and then we got a single exit exhaust. This one's a little bit quieter than the dual exit. I guess has a little slightly different note. So we wanted to keep, you know, the family ride a little quieter, I guess, and try to gain some power. But we're gonna install this stuff. We're gonna run it on the pump gas tune. We're gonna run a race gas tune, and then we're gonna do 85. So the pump gas and race gas can be done on stock injector. And then when we go to E85, we really only do it one way. We go directly to ID 1300 injectors. We go to our 1300cc injector. We do a fuel pump, and sooner than later, I want the fuel line kit done. So it's been a conversation for a couple months now, but I don't know, I guess you'd say the race car gets in the way of us moving forward sometimes in certain areas. We do need an off season, believe it or not. Like East Coast banging season is the summertime when it's too hot to ride on the West Coast. So then right now, West Coast is popping off because it's getting cool enough in Glamis and, you know, Death Valley, Dumont, and yeah. So we never really get a break, but we try to fit in as much as we can when we can. The Polaris stuff has been really popular as of late. We've built some tunes over time, but our main focus has been the X3 since the beginning. I try to stay pretty focused on the platform until I feel like we're pretty far along in development before we like change focus. I feel like we're pretty damn far along in the Can-Am X3 development. I mean, you know, we're basically at billet block now on the Can-Am. We've designed all the parts to handle a ton of power. There's a couple maybe tweaks here and there, but Now it's on the Polaris. So we're gonna do all this. The ProXP turbos, we can push extremely hard. We've made a ton of power on a Pro Turbo. The problem is the compressor wheels like to grenade. So the compressor wheel will just blow up. I don't want that, but it might happen. So that happens around 28 pounds or so. But we'll talk about that when we get there. I really want this machine to beat the Can-Ams with the stock turbo on it, but it sucked to blow up a turbo and send all of that compressor material into the intake manifold and everything else. So we'll definitely be doing a turbo upgrade on this thing sooner than later, probably. There's a couple options out there now. There's like a pure upgrade, basically a modded ProXP turbo, just billet wheel, and they do some turbine wheel modifications. We've made some serious power on those. But we also have a D&M stage 3 engine, I believe. It's like balls to the wall, O-ring deck, billet crank, piston rod combo, head stuff. So we're gonna push this as far as we can, and then we're gonna put a billet motor in this thing, and then have that, you know, whatever turbo's on it at that point, we're gonna turn it up a little bit and see what we can do. But the idea is to make some really good power on pump gas, because that air to water intercooler does really good. And we can, you know, run, there's a lot of things we're gonna do. I don't want to talk about it yet, but there's some things that we can do. So let's get to it. Ready?
Yep.
Gas tune for a Razor Pro.
Okay.
We currently call it the WS190 because that's what it made way back when we originally did it on that dyno.
Okay.
But like I was saying, might have said it in the first video, it's been a while, but we just didn't have any clutch options at the time because that was the whole new clutch. It was a, you know, the Pro clutch was new, so we didn't have any arms or anything to put in it. So now we have adjustable arms. So
which they'll see in the video.
Yeah, they'll see in the vid. So we have a 91 and a 93 version. The 91 is the one I just ran, makes 206 on this. I'm just gonna play with the 93 tune on this car, see what we can do.
All right, let's party.
All right. Slipping that bad.
All right, what's up?
Well, we're turning the power up. It made 216 peak at like 8,400 RPM. We just put Chris's new clutch weights in it, and they do shift a little bit differently now. So we just have to move some weight around in there to get it to be flat. But the load on this dyno, it will not allow it to accelerate any quicker than what we tell it to. So, how do you explain it? So like right now it's 180 axle RPM per second. That is the acceleration rate of the dyno. What it does do is it allows us to load a car really hard with no wheel spin, you know, like really constant mile-an-hour gain, I guess. But what because of that, there's like no possibility for the clutch to ever be like semi-okay, I guess. There's no time for like some wheel spin to happen to take some load off the clutch to allow it to shift a little better. Like this is pretty brutal on a CVT. You do learn the limits of CVT systems quickly on this dyno. But what we found is this, when we added the power to it, I mean the thing shook violently, like pretty crazy. It's like the worst I've ever felt them shake, which I think it's just slipping in the secondary. Or it's sucking the belt all the way down in there and it's riding off. I mean, I guess we'll take a look at it tomorrow. We're almost done for the day. But the belt can fall all the way down in the secondary and then hit the helix. So that will be something interesting to look at. It does kind of happen after 55, 60 miles an hour. But regardless, I wanted to use the STMs, but the STMs got really hot. So now we're back on the OEM clutch. Which I wish it just worked better, but it don't. So we'll do some stuff tomorrow, but I mean, it's making 216. I think with the clutching working right, I think 220 horsepower on 93 octane with this tune is real. So, we'll play with some stuff. We'll be back on tomorrow. I got to think about what the hell we're gonna do there. Maybe put a new belt on it. We did beat around this car a bit with the STMs on it, so
Yeah. Same belt.
It might be worth it just to start fresh with an OEM belt that hasn't been affected by another clutch and see how it acts. But yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. But now, you know, getting back to the development side of things, which is, you know, the Polaris, we have a Pro R on order. We have a Mach Z. We have this Pro. We have new turbos coming and a bunch of stuff. So our winter is going to be extremely busy. And then our Centroid will eventually be fired up. It's been taking forever to do it. We decided to bring in a new three-phase service in the back room here because our building's set up a little bit different. We actually have like another big front shop that is connected by a hallway. We have three-phase in that building. We don't have three-phase back here. We decided to run an all-new service back here so we could put all of our equipment back here in time. But that delayed us from being able to have Centroid out here to set it up and do all of their process, which is you know, quite an ordeal to get that thing up and running. But January 10th or something like that is when we're on the schedule. So the ProXP, it isn't really talked about. Like, it's not common knowledge that a Pro makes ridiculous power on a like all stock. Like a Can-Am cannot make this power. I mean, maybe it get pretty close, but I don't think it can make the power Pro can stock for stock. Like just like putting just the simple bolt-ons on it. Like this car is still stock injector. One would argue the clutch, right? One would argue the clutch is like the weak link. Like you can go pretty far in a Can-Am factory clutch. The Pro, and everybody knows, that's common knowledge, that the clutch is like really crazy and bad. But we're making like 242 horsepower on this thing now. We put VP MS100 race gas in it. It's like 23 pounds of boost, something like that. We did end up putting, it's on a TAPP clutch right now. That's something that we're gonna be working on today. We got some new ramps for it. It's got a little bit of an odd shift curve we're gonna try to fix. But when we went from a stock clutch with a KWI arm kit, because they're The machine, the crazy thing is, there's really nobody that made weights for a factory clutch that could handle the power we're making. So, like, power is engine speed. And if nobody sells arms, like publicly available, besides Chris did make arms that were like heavier, they're a wider arm. We had to put those in. Like, we were like 9,000 RPM, basically fully loaded on the other ones. So we had those arms in here. It made like 235, 236 on race gas. We put this TAPP clutch on it, picked up, went to like 242 first pole, or 240 first pole. So that TAPP clutch is definitely helping out this machine like big time.
That shaking is gone.
It is gone.
Notice that too.
All right.
We good?
Yeah.
So we were blessed with just a gosh awful day in Michigan. It's like 25 degrees in the morning, but 50 degrees in the daytime with the sun out. So we brought the Pro, that is stock injector race gas, making, we put a TAPP clutch on it, a factory secondary, making like 243, but it is a 4-seat. And we brought out our 22 base model. This is big injector E85. Big injector E85, stock map sensors. So this is basically the new 235 kit, the old 205. This thing obviously has a major weight advantage, I would say, over that thing with a windshield and funky mirrors and stuff that we gotta rearrange. But both have our exhaust on them, both have TAPP clutches, both have our tuning. Yeah, I mean this thing, I mean it's like, I mean it's not that cold, it's 50 degrees though. Yeah, check out this cold start though. Hard on it in the north, you know what I mean? It is an active blow off. Active.
It's like a supercharged car. You know how it always goes?
That's a humongous lens, Joe.
I know, I didn't want to switch it.
Does it work?
That'll work.
So I gave it all it had that I could put in it. And I knew when I launched it, it tapped the rev limiter, so it had to be slipping the belt. And sometimes it's just hard to lift. You know, you come around me pretty damn quick, and I even had to leave. A 5 horsepower advantage would be enough for the X3, but it's just not. Oh yeah, look at that. That's fun.
Tried to go out there.
It's crazy because belt top wasn't even on. Just ripped it. It of course broke the housing. It delaminated. Well, I mean, it could have done a lot of things. It's pretty interesting. Where's the rest of it?